En este video, tú vas a aprender cómo contar números en español. Now, counting numbers can be tricky in Spanish, but it really is just learning the bases. If you can learn the foundational numbers in Spanish, it will make your life way easier, and then you'll be able to say any number you want. So, let's take a look at 1 through 15, all right? Now, these we are simply just going to have to memorize. So, I'm going to go through them a bit quickly, okay? So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, so these you are simply going to have to memorize. Now, when you get to 16, something slightly changes here. Now what we have is we have this base of 10, or in this case 10, okay, meaning 10, and 6. So in this case, basically what's going on is, I'll just erase that. What's going on is this, 10 y 6. That's essentially what's going on. But for whatever reason, from 16 to 19, we have this interesting spelling. Okay, so we'll have 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, but realistically, these are just the bases of 10, 10, 10, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Bien. Now, for 20 or 20, it will just be 20. But from 21 to 29, we'll have the same thing happen, okay? Just like we saw it happen here, it will be 20 and then 1 through 9. So, for example, 22, 23. So, 23, for example. It just has a different spelling, okay? Now, when it comes to our multiples of 10 in Spanish, once again, these are kind of our bases. We're going to have the following. So we'll have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Be careful with these two, right? 60 and 70. I used to confuse these all the time. And if you struggle with them at first, it's very normal. Okay? Muy bien. So, once again, these are our bases. Now we get to 100, which is 100, but from 101 to 199, instead of saying just 100, we're going to say ciento. Okay, so ciento. So, for example, 101, 143, etc. So, what would 101 be? Okay, 101 would just be 101. What about 143? Okay, we have 143. So notice how 40 is our base, and then we just had E and then tres. So that's why I say it's really just those bases that are playing together, okay? So once you know these, everything is plug and play, okay? So let's take a look at some examples, okay? So we have 31. So we have 30 y 1. So all we need to do is say the base, which in this case would be 30, so 30. Then we add y, meaning and then 1. Now, when a native Spanish speaker says this number, they say it quickly, which is why it kind of sounds like I, so 31. But it's because we're saying it quickly. But in reality, it really is just 31. So 31, okay? Bien, 47, 47, or 47, okay? 92, okay? 92, 92. Like I said, kind of makes that I sound, 92, okay? 92, okay? Bien. Now let's do 100 to 900. So we have 100 for just 100 and ciento for 101 to 199. Then we have 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. Once again, these are our bases, and then once we learn these, it's just plug and play. So let's take a look. So here are some examples. We have 243, which would be 200, so 243, 40 and 3, 43, okay, so right, 200, that's the base, and then we have 43, okay. 517, okay, so 500 is 500, then we have 17, 17, right? Okay, and then 999, 900 there. Then we have 99, 999. Okay? Bien. For mil, we're just going to say mil. You won't say un mil. You might hear people say it, but it's better to just say mil. Okay? Then we could do something like 2,000, for example, 2,000, or 4,500, 4,500. So we have 4,000, 4,000, and then 500, 500. Okay? 17,326. 17,326. Okay, so 17, 17, 1000, 1,000, so 17,000, and then we have 326. Okay? Bueno, you get the idea. Now, to finish, we have something like 10,000, okay, meaning 10,000. 12,345, 12,345. 29,999, 29,999. Okay, 74,210. 74,210. And then, if you can do this, if you can count from 9 to 99, then you can count to 99,999. So pretty cool. Like I said, it really is just learning those basics. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, most important. And then we just need, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. And then 100, 200, 300, so on and so forth. Okay? For 100,000, we'll have 100,000, right? 100,000. For 1,000,000, we'll have 1,000,000 or just millón. And for 1,000,000,000, it actually won't be 1,000,000,000. It's actually 1,000,000,000, 1,000 millions. So next time that you want to say Elon Musk is a billionaire, you actually say he's a 1,000,000,000. Okay? Muy bien, pues muchas gracias por ver este video. If you'd like to learn more Spanish from me, click the link in the video description to check out our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Our goal is to have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days without feeling unconfident. So you can check it out by clicking the link in the video description. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.